So much light. Daylight. And on sunny days, you almost felt like you were sitting outside. It was that bright.
That surprised you, Grace?
Well, it was a factory. I thought it'd be dark and dirty.
Then why go to work there?
Well, I was 15. It was time I paid my own way.
Pay your own way? What about school?
Oh, I didn't miss it so much. The girls were all so nice, and the work wasn't hard. It wasn't like factory work, really. It was more like art. Painting those dials. We were artists.
I'm not really the one you should be talking to. Von Sashaki, he's the one you should talk to.
Now, Arthur, you know he won't talk to us.
It was his process.
Tell me about that process, Arthur. You used a powder.
We used a powder. The girls would mix it with an adhesive to make the paint. And that business with the brushes, I didn't invent that. They were doing that when I started there.
But you knew about it.
We all knew about it. We just didn't realize what it meant.
This is Yetta.
Oh, yeah.
Harry. And here.
Harry, what are you doing? Shut the door!
Amelia's going to inspection today.
Is that bad? Not for us!
She's going to be sitting in this room all day by herself in the dark checking dials.
Poor thing.
Poor thing.
So we're gonna give her a little surprise.
boom! Like the Cheshire Cat.
That'll make her mad.
Oh, let her get mad.
That's half the fun. I don't want to make her mad.
Oh, Grace, do you have to get away about everything?
Your teeth, Grace. Put some on your teeth.
Ain't like Amelia don't deserve it. She paints more dials than any girl on this floor. Can't be bothered to talk to nobody. You say, Amelia, how's your day? She just looks at you funny.
I don't think she speaks much English.
Wouldn't kill her to smile, would it?
She's coming.
Get the lights!
Where's the switch?
Oh, Grace, Catherine!
Boom!
Oh, stupid deal.
Painting your faces? And you got out your minds!
It was just a joke. A joke like that can lose a girl her jaw.
Now, Mrs. McNeil, I'm sure that's not necessary.
I don't tolerate no foolishness, Doctor.
Yeah, foolishness, we don't have fun, do we? Mr. Reader, this is the inspection room. All the dials come here that are painted. And here are some of the girls who should on the floor be working. Girls, this is Mr. Reader, my new vice president, and your new plant manager.
And I was just telling Mr. Reader what a fine bunch of girls we have here. I'm sure now he must think I'm halfway out of my mind.
Mr. Reader, perhaps you have some words for the girls. Mrs. McNeil?
Well, girls, this paint you've been playing with, it's very expensive. You realize this?
Yes, sir. Yes.
It takes several tons of ore to produce a single gram of radium. That's a lot of work, hard work, from the men in the extraction plant. But they do this work gladly. You understand why? Why they work so hard, what we are all working for?
The war?
That's right, the war. The dials you paint save lives, girls. Our boys in the field depend on them. To read them in the dark, no mistaking what they see. Otherwise, some of those boys won't be coming home. So, girls, if you fool around and don't take the work seriously, well, you're playing into the hands of the Kaiser. We don't want that, do we?
No, sir.
So let's get back to work now and leave the tomfoolery to home.
Mr. Reader, I just wanted to say I am sorry. I won't do nothing like this again.
Well, dear, just keep this in mind. If you do right by us, we'll do right by you.
January 1st, 1921. Nancy Jane Harlan here for the New York Graphic, the Graphic's only girl reporter.
Jack Youngwood for the Newark Ledger, Newark's first source for news.
Madame Marie Curie, eminent French scientist, embarks on a whistle-stop tour of the United States.
First stop, New York City, where she is greeted by an enthusiastic crowd of well-wishers.
The High Priestess of Science is headed towards Washington to receive a gift of 1 gram of radium valued at $100,000.
Purchased for her by the members of the Marie Curie Radium Club, an association of 100,000 American women.
Who each gave $1 in support of humanitarian research with radium.
Grace! Over here!
I was able to get my certificate. I'm officially a member of the Marie Curie Radium Club.
You gave $1?
Well, it's all for science.
Science? What about my room and board?
There she is.
Welcome all. I must ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the press, please limit your questions. Madame Curie is about to embark on an exhaustive tour of the country, and she is under strict doctor's orders to rest. Although, in the typical fashion of a scientist who can think only of her research, her life's work, she has refused to rest.
What will you do with the radium?
Eh?
What will you do with the radium?
I will continue my experiments to find better methods of the treatment of the cancer.
Is radium a cure for all cancer?
Cure for the cancer? Yes. Cure for the cancer. That is so. It has already cured all kinds of the cancer.
But some doctors dispute that.
Then they do not understand the method. There is no question. Radium will cure the cancer.
Curie!
How have you managed to devote yourself both to your science and your children?
It has not been easy. But my children share my gratitude for the American women in their interest in science and my research. I am most grateful.
Questions? Madame Curie is on a tight schedule. Mrs. Andrew Carnegie has sent a car and will escort Dr. Curie personally, as will I, to Washington, where President Harding will present the gift of 1 gram of radium.
See that, Charlie? That is a marketing opportunity. Let's send her one of our customers' watches, courtesy the United States Radium Corporation.
We'll need a press release.
Radium isn't just for scientists to study. The average American can share in its glory every night. Luminous watches, luminous clocks. Anyone who thinks these are just novelties. Consider all the other advances that have taken place in the past 50 years. The electric light, the telegraph, the automobile. Inventions all once dismissed as novelties, as toys.
Are now essentials to modern life. Got it. That ought to sell some watches.
Watches, absolutely. But that's not where the growth is now, Charlie. You heard the lady, it's the medical market.
And Standard Chemical owns it.
Only because Vaughn says Shockey lets them take it. But if we wanted to, we could get out their business. It's just a matter of position.
Standard Chemical publishes its own journal. Sends it out monthly to 12,000 doctors. We could do something similar.
Something scholarly that the doctors would
A
respect.
bibliography. Every article ever published on Radium.
But with capsule reports, to save the doctor's time, they get the information, find it fast.
That's the thing for
We'll
it.
send it to every doctor in the United States Radium Society.
Every doctor in the American Medical Association.
That's the spirit, Charlie. Advertising. That's the way to the future. It's not just the product, it's the way you promote it.
You should have seen it, Grace. The church is filled with flowers, lilies and carnations and orchids. You know how Amelia loved orchids.
Those weren't orchids.
They were orchids, Irene.
Flags.
Orchids. Purple orchids. I know an orchid when I see one. Oh, and that smell, Grace, that smell. What was that smell? It was like
Flowers.
No, it was like heaven. I was going to say it was like heaven.
Like heaven, Catherine? It was just a funeral. You're making it sound like it was some Valentino picture.
It wasn't just a funeral. It was Amelia's. And it was beautiful. You should have seen it, Grace. The church was like the botanical gardens. The company sent a big spray of flowers, too. Carnations.
Mums.
Yellow carnations.
Those were mums.
Green.
Sounds like a nice service
Girls.
anyhow.
Girls! The whistle is already gone. Now, I received new instructions this day. We're to go back to the old way of pointing the brushes. We was losing too much paint in the cloth.
But
Yes, Grace? Something you wish to say?
It's just that Dr. Voss, the shopping told us not to do that anymore. He said it's unsanitary.
Unsanitary. Well, I can't hardly believe he'd say such a thing. We've been doing this as long as I've been here. You must have misunderstood him.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're not to get new brushes until you're done with the old. And they gotta be so bad that you can't get a boy no more.
Can't make quota like that.
Well, you'll have to do your best then, since I have my instructions.
I need a new brush.
It's not for us to be asking questions. It's for us to do the work.
I have my instructions, girls. I have my instructions.
Here's an instruction for you, McNeil. Let some of the starch out of your corset.
Was she at the service?
McNeil, are you kidding? You think she'd cross the street for her own mother?
Most everybody else was, though. You was about the only girl from the floor who wasn't there.
I wanted to, but Mom was working and I had to watch the little ones.
Could have brought him.
All 7.
If it was me, I'd have tried to get there.
Just lay off. Grace feels bad as it is.
Were any of the fellas there?
Oh yeah, lots of fellas from downstairs. Mr. Roth from the front office, Dr. Von Sashaki was there, and Miss Sarita.
And he left early.
So, he was there all the same. Oh, and Grace, you know that fellow from Crystallizing, the tall one? What's his name? With the red hair.
Oh,
You know who I
yeah,
mean.
the one with the freckles?
Yeah, he snaps his fingers all the time.
George.
I think it's George.
Jerry Mullen. He was the one who was always talking to Amelia in the day room.
That's right, Grace. When the mass was over, he goes over to the coffin and he goes like this. Like this he goes.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Really?
For his sakes.
Well, he did. Nobody could believe it.
So what if he did?
So what? He was in love with her. That's so what. Don't you think so, Grace?
Well, he had to be. If he did that.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if he loved her and he never told her? Never had the chance to say because she was so beautiful. And he was so shy. But now it's too late. It's too late and their love is forever thwarted. He never told her and he'll never get a chance to ever again.
Poor Amelia.
Poor Amelia.
Poor kid.
Her family took it awful bad too, Grace. Albina, Quinta, every one of them crying. Even her father crying so bad. I never saw a man cry before, and not like that. Just bawling like a baby.
And you know why, too?
Because their daughter had died.
What she had died from.
Irene, don't go spreading stories.
It's not a story. Albina told us. No reason why Grace shouldn't know.
Know what? Know what? Amelia?
Ain't it awful? Albina said her father's fit to be tied too. 6 girls at home, and ain't none of them going to a dance ever again.
All because Amelia upped and died from syphilis. Shh! I can't help it if that's what she died from.
We can't be certain.
Well, it's on the death certificate.
Anemia and complications from syphilis.
But Amelia was ever so nice.
Guess she got around more than we knew.
Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe the doctors got it wrong.
Come on.
They could have got it wrong. Doctors are wrong sometimes.
That's true. Doctor was wrong about Aunt Ivy.
What's Mama got to do with it?
Irene, don't you remember? Up until the day she died, Doctor said Aunt Ivy would be fine. Said, take a cup of tea, get a good night's rest. And the next day, we was driving into the Rosedale Cemetery. How could you forget it?
Girls! Your attention, please. The gentlemen are here to make an announcement.
Thank you, Miss McNeil. Girls, we are here to put a few rumors to rest.
And to explain some changes, yeah?
Yes. As some of you may have heard, Dr. Von Sashaki is stepping down. He would like to take this opportunity
To make with goodbye. And Mr. Reader has kindly consented. Some of you have known since you were little girls. Coming here during the war, working so hard. Day after day at the bench. 200, 300, some of you 500 dials a day. So excited to be part of our work here. In this company I started in my own kitchen, mixing up the paint. Knew that I had found something miraculous to make life better, easier. And now, what do I read? More and more uses are there for the radium, more than I ever dreamed possible.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Doctor. Now, girls, the doctor is a busy man and must be on his way, so let's wish him the best of luck in his new business ventures. Very good then, girls.
As Mr. Reader, let us good luck wish to you also. To the plate he steps as your company president. Our congratulations to you.
Thank you.
When Mr. Reader came here 4 years ago to us, I saw in him a young man of great enterprise.
Thank you.
And great ambition.
Yes.
Little did I guess the direction your ambition would take. But One of the things that makes this country great is the opportunity it presents to a young man and his friends.
And so, girls.
And so, ladies, let us wish Mr. Reader the very best in the new direction he intends the company to take.
New direction?
With the slowdown in dial painting
Now, Doctor,
and business moving into the medical market. There's going to be lots of changes, yeah?
What the doctor is referring to, some of our larger customers are setting up their own dial painting studios.
Which means less work for our girls here.
In the short run, things may be slower here. However, the Waterbury Clock Company in Connecticut will need help setting up its new dial painting studio. We were intending to make an announcement next week. We'll make it now. Miss McNeil?
Well, we needed some of you girls to go on over there.
The work is supervisory in nature, which means more pay. You have some girls in mind?
Louise Conlon was one, Sarah Deutsch, Lena McCarthy, and Catherine Shaw. I have a full list downstairs. I'll post it today.
Fine. There you have it, girls. As we're all on the clock, we'll leave you to your work.
Thank you, ladies. My best wishes to you.
Let's back to work with you girls.
You gonna do it, Catherine? You gonna take that job?
Would you, Grace? Would you go to Connecticut?
I don't know. It's awful far from home.
It'd be fun. Won't it be fun, Irene? Irene?
Irene, honey, are you alright?
Huh? Yeah. Why wouldn't I be okay? What?
Your mouth is bleeding.
$35 a week, and she quits the place.
More to life than money.
That's what you say when you're young, Tom. But when you and Grace get to be my age, with a house full of kids underfoot, you'll think, gosh, are we putting goodbye?
We got money put by.
Oh yeah? How much?
Enough to get married on.
Don't take much to get married on. Do you have enough to stay married on?
You let us get married. We'll find out.
Are you still eating, Tommy?
Good.
You're gonna get fat.
You've got to keep up the strength. The man works hard for his money.
Don't start, Mom.
I didn't say nothing. It was your father who hit the roof over it.
He didn't hit the roof.
You should have seen his face, Tom. When he found out that Grace wasn't working no more, most girls would give their eye teeth for a job like that. Easy work, good money, nice-looking fellas around the plant.
Who didn't tell me about them, Grace?
There weren't many of them. Hardly seem worth the mention.
And then she leaves it all behind, for reasons unknown. I'm tired up there, she says. Are you tired of the paycheck, I says. Don't need a paycheck, she says. I got a mean boyfriend to take me out Saturdays.
She said that?
You know I didn't. And for your information, I got a job. I start at the bank on Monday.
Oh yeah, the bank, and what's it pay?
Enough?
Enough. Always enough. You know what that means, Tom. It don't come near what it pays up at the Radium plant.
It's office work.
Office work. Well, I guess that means you'll be spending more money on clothes then.
Wow. Boy, she is really steamed at you.
I don't see what difference it makes so long as I'm working somewhere.
Don't make no difference to me. I just thought you liked it up there.
Well, yeah, I liked it. I worked there 4 years.
So, I've been delivering mail almost 8 years. I plan to keep on delivering mail another 20 or 30 years, if I'm lucky. Nothing like steady work and a good pension to help you sleep at night.
I don't have a pension. I sleep just fine.
Well, I bet you do. So, how come you quit, Grace?
Lots of girls are quitting. Work is slow, and since I re-left, it just hasn't been the same. And besides, would you rather have a girlfriend who works at a bank?
Not as much as I'd like to have a wife who don't work anywhere.
Close your eyes. I got a surprise for you.
Yeah? You want me to pull the shades?
Not that kind of surprise. Close your eyes. No, open them.
Wallpaper?
For the baby's room.
Baby's room? You won't kiss me, you're talking about babies?
Well, there's gonna be babies eventually, Tommy.
Well, sure, but you know, Grace, most girls, they get married before they decorate the nursery.
Plan ahead for once. Pick one.
They're both the same.
No, they're not. This one has big flowers, and this one has little ones. So pick one.
That one.
This one's pretty, don't you think?
The other one.
But I want you to like it too.
If you like it, I'll like it. Wallpaper is wallpaper.
No, it's not. You gotta pick something you can stand to look at for 20 years.
Ah, same way you pick women?
Keep it up, smarty pants. You won't ever get that kiss.
All right. This one. This one, hands down.
I like it too. A nice neutral yellow goes with either a boy or a girl. And until the baby comes, we can use the room for other things.
Yeah? Like what?
Like a painting studio, maybe.
A painting studio, maybe? Didn't you get enough of painting at work?
Well, not the kind I wanted to. Tommy, I used to paint watercolors at school, and ever since I went to work, well, I don't have enough time. What with watching the kids and helping Mom, once we get married, I just want some time, just a little time to myself, so I can do watercolors. Or oils, maybe. Maybe portraits in oil. I can paint your picture if you like.
Why not? Paint a big picture of me, and we'll hang it in the outhouse. All our friends will come around just to use the camera, so they can look at it.
The way you talk sometimes.
Oh, Grace, you want to paint pictures? Paint pictures. I ain't gonna stop you.
Wait till you come home one night, all worn out, some Christmas maybe, when every customer on your routes had 3 times the mail, and maybe some dog took after you. Or some old lady kept you waiting on her stoop, telling you all about her grandchildren. And you wouldn't have the heart to tell her you can't talk. I know you. So you come home all cranky and late besides, hungry, waiting your dinner, and there I am with my easel set up on the table, a drop cloth on the floor, and my paints all over the counter. Your dinner nowhere in sight. What do you say then?
Better be a picture of me you're painting.
I know what you'd say then. Where's my dinner? That's what you'd say.
Well, sure, but I'd still admire the painting. Just want to look at it on a full stomach is all. So, how'd I do? Pick the right wallpaper?
I don't know. Maybe I'll go look at some stripes.
Stripes, polka dots, I don't care. Let's just get married, Grace. You're plenty old enough. Tell your ma we ain't waiting no more. We'll just run off.
Tommy, we're not running off. We're gonna do it right. A nice church wedding with music and flowers. And then a week at the seashore, just us. And then afterwards, we get set up in our own place. You'll see. It'll be worth the wait.
Your mouth hurt yet?
Yeah. The doctor wants to pull another tooth in the back.
Well, what's a tooth? Hazel Cuser. Any connection to the others?
Only by virtue of employment.
Except she's got a good lawyer.
Knows how to write a good letter anyway, that lawyer.
And she no longer works here?
Left 6 months ago.
This makes 4 now. 3. 4 if you count the Magic Girl.
I wouldn't include her.
She worked here.
She also worked other places. And once she died from it, you couldn't get here. At least I don't think you can.
That's not funny, Charlie. And besides, that's just idle talk.
In my experience, there's usually something to the idle talk when it comes to girls like that.
From a large family, wasn't she?
Italians, the conditions they live in. 10, 12 people in 3 rooms. It's a wonder they don't all die of one infection or another.
3 then. And how many dead?
Only Miss Maja, but I haven't heard from her people.
It's too late for them anyway. The statute of limitations is 2 years. But Miss Cuser is another story. She's in a position to make some trouble now.
In all the time I've been here, no one has so much as slipped on the floor. And now this?
We're talking about 4 girls. Out of how many hundreds that we've employed?
600, 700 over the
And
years.
some of the girls were sick when they got here. One girl you hired was a complete cripple. Couldn't even walk up the stairs. Her father carried her up to the studio every morning.
It didn't make any difference to me how she got up the stairs. She was a fast worker and a very sweet little girl.
But she wasn't poor.
She needed the work.
Charlie!
And not just for the money. To feel productive. To have a purpose. That's what work does for you, Charlie. It gives you a purpose. I don't see any reason why we should stop hiring girls like that.
When they get sick and try to blame us for it, you might want to reconsider that policy.
We'll see what Dr. Drinker has to say.
Dr. Drinker?
Some professor at the Harvard School of Industrial Hygiene.
He chairs the department, and he's agreed to take a look at our operations.
Don't you think we're jumping the gun a bit, hiring him?
We've had 6 girls quit this week, and Miss McNeil tells me there could be more.
Girls come and go all the time.
It's never been like this. These girls are terrified. We have to do something to calm them.
Letting Drinker examine them? That sounds to me like a recipe for mass hysteria.
We'll tell them it's a routine physical. Edward?
The companies give physicals all the time.
Then Drinker will start next month.
In the meantime, I recommend we make an offer to Miss Cuser.
Settle?
There's no proof her problems are connected to us.
If she sues, believe me, you won't like the publicity it brings, and neither will your investors.
You think this will affect the stock offering?
Don't you?
Wonderful. We'll open at 30 and close at 10.
Or not open at all.
But if we give this girl something, that will keep her quiet?
It would be a condition of the settlement.
Suppose this lawyer has a racket going, he finds sick girls in, talks him into making suits, then we reward him for his larceny.
Unless Miss Kuzer genuinely believes she got sick here.
It could be like Charlie said. She comes from a large immigrant family, not well educated, not a lot of
A
resources.
few $100s would make a big difference to a girl like that.
Certainly. Pay a few doctor's bills, buy some medication. From the sound of that letter, I don't think the girl has that long to live anyway.
So, it would be a gesture of decency then.
Exactly.
What do you think we should offer?
March 24th, 1924. Jack Youngwood here for the Newark Ledger.
Nancy Jane Harlan for the New York Graphic, the New York Graphic's only girl reporter.
Could radium water pose a cure for crippling arthritis? Scientific studies suggest a connection.
Dateline, Orange, New Jersey. Radium water products offer miracle cure for crippling arthritis.
Some patients reported a significant abatement in their symptoms.
Miss Jeremy Michaels from the Bronx tells us how radium water transformed her life.
My pain got so bad I couldn't hardly bend over.
While others reported only mild relief.
This poor, brave woman could not even bend over to kiss her little ones goodnight.
And I've got 3, and let me tell you, they're a handful.
Dr. Harrison Martland, Chief Medical Examiner of Essex County, commented on the study.
Preliminary at best.
Your recommendations, Dr. Martland.
I advise further study. Further study.
Then Miss Michaels tried Radithor.
They said it would help my rheumatism, so I drank a bottle a day for a month. Wasn't cheap, but I was desperate.
The test sample was questionably small.
Well, first off, it felt like I'd been hit by a bolt of lightning. It was that powerful. Now, I drink a bottle a week just to maintain my health. I hang the laundry, and I've scrubbed the kitchen floors the same way I always done.
Dr. William J.A. Bailey of Orange, inventor of Radithor, reports strong demand for his product.
William Bailey of Orange announces that sales of Radithor exceed 100,000 cases worldwide.
Radioactivity is one of the most remarkable agents in medical science. I drink Radithor myself, and I can vouch for its power.
A bottle a day.
At $1 a bottle?
Worth every penny.
Yes, yes, indeed. I myself was the picture of lethargy before I discovered the amazing, vitalizing qualities of radium water. Now look at me. I'm nearly 50 years old, but I have the energy of a man in his 30s.
You rather look like a man in your 30s.
Well, thanks.
A testament to the tonic's potency.
Or to the seller's creativity.
Radithor! It is perpetual sunshine.
And the perpetual money machine for its inventor.
Is there no end to what science can do?
Maybe we should make an appointment. Shouldn't need no appointment. It's a busy place, Catherine. If we don't have an appointment, maybe we should make one.
Shouldn't need no appointment for this.
I'm sorry, I couldn't find anything under shop.
No, it's under Rudolph.
Rudolph.
The girl I'm asking about, Irene Rudolph.
Did she file a complaint?
No, the dentist did.
The dentist.
Dr. Neff, Irene's dentist. He said she might have Fossey jaw and was going to complain to the health department about it. But when I asked, he said he hadn't heard nothing, and it's been more than 6 months now.
Fossey jaw, you said?
Yes!
Maybe it's like they said, Catherine. A blood infection.
Yeah, but what gave it to her? That's the thing. What was it from?
From dirt. You get infections from dirt.
From dirt? Her face puffed up like a pumpkin. Her jaw rotted so bad she couldn't eat nothing. You think you get something like that from a little dirt? You get it from phosphorus. They're telling everybody it's radium in that paint, but it's really phosphorus that makes it glow.
Honestly, Catherine, you can't really believe that.
You saw her, Grace.
Catherine, feels like you say they'd never let you work up there in the first place.
Sure, they'd have shut the place down.
Shut it down? Who? Who's gonna shut it down?
I don't know. The county?
Honestly, Grace, you are such a ninny.
Hey,
How are they gonna shut it down if they don't know about it? Ever think of that?
now come on.
It's all right, Tommy.
She got no business talking to you that way.
She's just upset.
Upset?
She's gone around the bend. She probably thinks they're dumping arsenic in the drinking water now. Next she'll be there, kidnapping babies and using them to stoke the
Go
burn.
ahead and laugh! You won't laugh so hard when it's you coming in here 6 months from now asking after Grace.
Oh, for crying out loud!
Catherine, it's just a toothache.
Yeah? That's how it started for Irene. Just a toothache. You wait, Grace, you wait. You'll wake up one morning, your gums hurting so bad you won't be able to open your mouth. So weak and sick you won't be able to stand up.
Stop it, Catherine!
Pain so bad you won't be able to sleep. And your face so swollen you won't be able to stand the sight of yourself.
I said stop it! Grace is fine. Right, Gracie?
Irene Rudolph?
That's it.
She worked at the Radium plant.
Yes, ma'am.
And nothing.
Huh?
The company is in full compliance with all state health and labor regulations. They order
Let me
analysis.
see that.
Miss, really?
Who's Miss Young?
That's the health officer, miss.
Paint is harmless compound of radium and zinc.
As I was saying, the analysis shows that there's no phosphorus in the paint. There's no phosphorus anywhere in the plant.
There. You see, Catherine?
Miss Young toured the place herself. She found nothing amiss. I'm sorry.
Well, guess we can go get some lunch then.
I'm gonna file another complaint.
We already did.
I
and
want
this-
to file another complaint.
Oh, brother.
Catherine, these folks, they're awful busy here. I want to file another complaint. I just don't see what good this is gonna do, Catherine. To make such a fuss this way.
3 surgeries, and they wanted to cut her again. She finally said no. She knew. What was left of her jaw had rotted so bad, the smell was terrible. And Grace, the worst of it is, I couldn't look at her. Irene was so afraid of being alone, and I left her alone. When she died, it was the middle of the night, and nobody was with her.
I'm sorry. Can we get another form? My friend would like to file another complaint.
Another complaint? Is the girl still sick?
No, she's dead.
Wait right there.
Harriet! Harriet, come down from that tree at once.
I'm waiting for Papa.
Fine, when he gets here, I'll send him up after you.
There he is. Papa, Papa,
Harriet!
Papa, I can see clear to the church.
Can you? Do you see your grandfather?
No, but I can see the schoolhouse.
You think this is funny?
She's enjoying herself.
Harriet!
Tell you what, if she has no one to shout to, she won't shout.
They can hear her all over the neighborhood.
Can they?
When she comes down, I want you to speak to her.
She's 9 years old, Diane.
I'm trying to raise a daughter, not a son.
Well, time is on your side. In a year or two, she'll lose all interest in trees and develop a fascination with boys.
That's supposed to scare me.
And when that day comes, you'll be frantic because she'll no longer want to climb trees.
What's this?
Something to give you vitality.
You think I need vitality?
That's what it says on the bottle.
Is it pure?
We're a supplier. Want to try it?
If it will give me vitality, how could I refuse? Your father came by to see me today.
Oof, another hard luck case.
4 children at home, all under the age of 6.
Let me guess. Wife in the hospital with cancer.
Yes.
And the husband's just been laid off from, let's see, the brickyard.
Yes.
Through no fault of his own.
How'd you know?
Dad was around to see me yesterday. It was never enough with him just to have ordinary ambitions. You always have to have a mission in life.
And you do.
No, I have a business plan.
Are you telling me you wouldn't help that man if you could?
I could, but I can't give him a job that doesn't exist.
What about Dan Lehman?
Dan?
Maybe he could use some help.
In the laboratory, Dan needs trained technicians, not a bricklayer. Why don't you send him to Miss Middleton? Don't you women have a social club for things like this?
You mean the Women's Club Social Committee?
Right.
Yes, we take an interest in such cases, but we're not an employment service either. Which is why I thought you could help him.
You do love being married to the company president.
It has its advantages.
Ever think of trading it in?
Do you?
I got my shoe shine this morning. While I watched the boy work, I thought, this is quite an enterprise. The work walks in, the work walks out. No inventory, no warehouse, no stock price,
And you
no
trade
help and
all of it in for your own shoe shine stand.
fewer headaches that way.
So you're in one of those moods again. What is it this time? It can't be the stock market. It went up today.
So now you're reading the financial pages.
I have to entertain myself somehow. So what happened today? You're acting very strange.
Am I? I'm sorry.
You can tell me, you know.
There's nothing to tell. Really, this is going to be our best year ever.
So it's the prospect of success that you find so disheartening.
I'll get my checkbook.
What for?
Your bricklayer.
Artie, he needs a job, not charity. What is it your father says? A working man needs to work. It
Wears on his soul not to work. Well, if it's a matter of his soul, that's different. I'll have him talk to Dan.
Artie,
But I make no promises, Diane.
no promises.
To your health.
How long do you have this drainage?
A week or two. Heard something awful, Dr. Neff.
Anything else bothering you?
My back's some.
You're back now. You seem your regular doctor.
He says it's nerves.
Nerves?
About my wedding and all.
This ain't no case of nerves. I hope you told him that.
Well, what do you think?
Think you better schedule that surgery.
Couldn't we put it off a little?
You don't
Till
have-
after my wedding?
You don't have that surgery? You won't have no wedding.
What do you mean?
Miss Fryer, I want you to listen to me. Your jawbone is decayed. That's the black pus oozing out of your gums. It's the bone itself.
That's impossible!
To Mr. Arthur Reeder, U.S. Radium Corporation. From Cecil Drinker, Harvard University. Enclosed is our report.
Finally!
We believe the trouble in your plant is due to the radium.
Radium?
It can't be as bad as all that!
This can't be. Put off the surgery, and you will develop a septic condition. It could be fatal.
The blood changes in your employees can be explained on no other grounds.
Everything I've got, I've saved for my wedding.
Photographic films carried by employees show heavy fogging,
Well, I got a suggestion for you.
and we suspect high levels of gamma radiation throughout the plant.
Go to the radium plant and explain your situation.
Go to the company.
We realize no proof can be offered at present.
Once they see what kind of shape you're in,
This is impossible.
they gotta feel obligated to help you out.
But in view of the material in the literature
It's a mistake!
and the facts disclosed by our investigation,
Well, I don't see how they can refuse.
we recommend immediate and drastic remedial action.
Look, if you want, I'll write some for you. They can work through me. Just pay my bills directly.
You think they'll do that?
Charlie!
They got a moral obligation, don't you
I
think?
guess so.
We'll do it right now. I'll get some paper.
He has to be wrong. That's all. He's wrong! Charlie! He has to be wrong!
He must have overlooked something.
If we're suffering from a new ailment caused by the radium, it should occur generally throughout the plant.
One would expect.
Several hundred milligrams in crystallizing at all times in the big vats, several hundred milligrams in the ore, several hundred in solution.
The entire backyard is filled with the tailings.
Radium is present in good amounts all across the property.
If it's the radium, the incidence of illness should be highest in the laboratory.
And no one there is sick.
Then perhaps it's some combination of the radium and the zinc,
Or something peculiar to our plant alone.
some kind of bacteria perhaps, in the brushes.
It can't be the radium. There were dozens of application plants across the country, and none has ever reported anything like this.
The Department of Labor wants to see that report.
Yes, I'm aware.
What are we going to do? This tears us to pieces. How do we answer them?
They want to see the report? Send them this.
One page?
The most important page.
Drinker will never stand for this.
Drinker works for us, and besides, this is a proprietary report. What we do with it is our business.
For the department of labor.
We just need time, Charlie, just a little time.
They're just out for this.
Scientists, government men, none of them know what it takes to run a business. Von Sashaki thought advertising was a dirty word. He laughed at the very idea of promotion. I can't tell you how many times I walked into that man's office and he turned a deaf ear to everything I told him. But, Charlie, we showed him. Look at us. We are the world's largest single supplier of radium. The largest in the world. You know what it took for us to get here. Do you think I am going to stand idly by and let our good name be dragged through the mud? Trust me, Charlie.
Dr. Flynn, it's awful nice of you to come all this way.
Not at all, my dear, not at all.
I told the doctor you was coming over here, so he gave me the results of my blood work.
Excellent.
And so?
I must say, Miss Fry, your blood looks better than mine.
It does?
That's what happens to an old man who smokes. Now tell me, what else is troubling you?
My feet and my back mostly. I've had to wear a brace for a while.
So I see. And this happened before you left the company or after?
After I left. Dr. Neff says this all has to do with the plant. I know another girl who got sick from it. Irene Rudolph?
Oh yes, terrible thing. Vincent's angina.
What's that?
An ulcerative condition of the mouth, my dear.
From the radium?
Oh, no. An unfortunate and rare result of poor dental care. So let this be a lesson to you. Always brush your teeth.
I was reading something else in the paper about other girls who got sick. One girl I worked with for a while. She's in the hospital in New York and they don't know what to do. The doctors. They've never seen anything like it.
Miss Fry, don't tell me you pay any attention to the papers. Those stories are not scientific.
But
Reporters are not scientific. They do not follow scientific methods. They write to sell, not to educate. The scientist is not concerned with what sells. He's concerned with the truth. He undertakes years of painstaking study to arrive at an understanding of intricate natural processes that most people could never presume to comprehend. You would do well to listen to science, Miss Fryer, and ignore all the nonsense that is printed in the newspapers, because I can tell you right now, radium has nothing to do with what's ailing you.
it doesn't?
Not in the least.
What is ailing me?
Poor diet, Miss Fryer, poor diet.
But Dr. Neff.
Dr. Neff is a dentist, not a physician. What you have is a vitamin deficiency. You must eat more fresh fruit.
Hard to do in the winter.
And raw meat as well. That will help with the anemia. Raw calf liver particularly. Cook it if you must, but eat it twice a week, at a minimum. Oh, no, Miss Fryer. I'm a scientist, and I take a purely scientific interest in your situation. By allowing me to examine you, you're helping me to advance my own studies. I thank you. Call me anytime, day or night.
Okay, Dr. Flynn. Thank you.
Happy to be of service, my dear.
Dr. Frederick Flynn, PhD, Columbia University. PhD? That's not a real doctor.
My findings, Mr. Reader.
He's seen half a dozen girls used to work at the plant. Word I hear, he's working for the company.
An objective evaluation, I trust?
The source of my funding has no bearing on my research.
I let that fella examine me.
I never examined her per se. It wasn't a medical examination per se.
Nevertheless, you were able to offer her some useful advice.
I did my best for her.
Every girl he sees, it's the same thing. Nothing wrong with you.
Your blood's better than mine, he says.
And how are you doing on the rest of the report?
The animal studies I conducted reveal no adverse effects from the radium. The problem, as you suspected, is one of personal hygiene only.
I can't believe somebody would do that. Straight up lie to you like that.
Nothing surprises me.
It's just like you said, Catherine. Those people will say anything. They'll do anything.
Except the right thing.
Well, we're gonna make them. We're gonna make sure somebody hears about this.
I am most grateful, Dr. Flynn, but I am particularly grateful to hear that the young lady you examined is doing so much better.
No. I didn't examine her. I merely consulted with her.
All the same, she is doing much better, isn't that so?
From what I could see, Mr. Reader, she appears to be on the road to recovery.
Excellent.
Here is the statement of my fees and expenses.
Mr. Lee will draw you a check.
And so I leave you now with this one thought. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not have to accept injustice. We can use our powers as consumers to influence the practices of those who wish to profit from our patronage. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Wiley. And thanks to the New Jersey Consumers League for another job well done. I do not think we have time for questions, but we hope that you will join us next door for light refreshments.
You want anything?
My throat's a little dry.
Excuse me, miss. I'm here to see Miss Wiley. You're not a member of the Women's Club.
No, ma'am.
Are you a guest of a member?
No, ma'am.
Ah, then I'm sure Miss Wiley would be happy to see you during her regular business hours.
I'm not leaving here until I see Miss Wiley.
That just won't do, and I'm sorry to
It's
have to...
okay, Miss Middleton. It's fine. You must be Miss Fryer.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Young from the health department said we should see you. I know I probably should have stopped by your office first. I've missed so much work lately, and I didn't want to miss you more.
Oh, no need to apologize. I've been meaning to call on you myself. Please, sit down.
Me and Catherine wrote to the company about our troubles, but we haven't heard nothing. So then we went to see a couple lawyers, but they all said they can't do nothing since it's been so long since we left the plant. Something about the law that won't allow it.
The statute of limitations.
Right. And this one lawyer, he wanted to sue anyhow, only he wanted $1,000 up front. Everything I've saved for my wedding I've spent on doctors and hospitals and dentists, and I still don't know what's wrong. Exactly. And Tom, that's my fella. He says he don't care. He wants to get married anyhow. But I've just got to wonder, what good would I do him like this? Miss Wiley, if I could just get some compensation, maybe I could pay off my debts, and then I wouldn't feel like I was saddling Tom with such a burden. I'm sorry to rattle on at you about these things. I'm just so sick of getting pushed around.
I don't blame you.
So can you help us?
Miss Fryer, just how far are you willing to go with this?
Ma'am?
Suppose I do find a lawyer to take your sick case. Someone who's willing to take it on a contingency. You wouldn't have to pay him unless you won. Would you be willing to sue?
I want my compensation.
Of course you do. Now, suppose the company says, here, Miss Fryer, here's some money for you, only you are to tell no one of what we've agreed to. You are to tell nobody of how you got sick.
Keep it quiet, you mean?
Yes.
That don't seem right.
It isn't right, but that's what they'll do. They'll try to buy your silence. Is it for sale, Miss Fryer?
No. No, ma'am, it isn't.
Good.
So, will you help us?
I think I might be able to help you if you're willing to take some chances.
Chances.
Miss Fryer, if you would be willing to set aside your own need just for the moment, we can put a stop to that company. We can stop them dead in their tracks.
What do we need to do?
We start by putting you on page 1.
Page 1? You wanted to talk to the newspaper?
Not just one newspaper, many newspapers.
Is that really necessary? All we want is for Grace to get her compensation.
Tommy, let her finish. I understand your concerns, but this company has already shown that it's willing to go to extremes to protect itself. No, I'm afraid the only way we'll be able to get to them is to hit them where it matters most, their public image. When every newspaper in America tells your story, how you were sorely treated, how you suffered, and how the company denied all responsibility. Believe me, Miss Fryer, when that happens, Arthur Reeder will come to the table with his hat in his hands.
All right, Miss Wiley.
I know it's a little frightening.
It's all right. Right now, I'm more angry than I am scared.
Good. You hang on to that anger. You're gonna need it. Only be sure no one else sees it.
Ma'am?
Public sympathy, Miss Fryer. That's our strongest weapon. And the public doesn't have much sympathy for an angry woman.
December 4th, 1927. Jack Youngwood reporting for the Newark Ledger.
Nancy Jane Harlan for the graphic.
on the strange case of the Radium girls,
Claim they were poisoned at the hands of their employer.
and now seek their day in court.
$250,000.
That's the price tag on their suffering.
$250,000?
Ask me, it's all sham.
What do you mean? Those girls are very sick.
Sick of working, sure.
Doctors say the Radium girls have only a year to live.
Only 1 year to live and 250 grand to spend. What would you do with that kind of money?
What would you do to ease your last suffering days on Earth? What would you do with $250,000?
I'd buy a wardrobe like Irene Castle's.
I'd give it off to charity.
Then I'd travel around the world, first class, with all my friends.
I'd play the stock market.
I'd buy my wife a fur coat and a diamond the size of New Hampshire.
I'd use it to pay my medical bills. Pay off the second mortgage on my house. The one my father took out to pay for my last operation.
Pretty Grace Fryer sits at home,
Suffering bravely through this entire ordeal
struggling valiantly to keep her flagging spirits.
for the sake of her family and her friends.
It hurts to smile, but I try to smile. I know if I don't, I'll go crazy.
Tell us, Miss Fryer, what's it like knowing that you have so little time left?
I try not to think about it.
But it's got to get to you sometimes.
Knowing what you've been through.
And the company's getting fat off your labor.
And all they have to say about it is
No comment!
Don't you just want to punch somebody?
Oh no, that won't do no good. I'd rather just think about how it's gonna be when justice prevails. Then maybe I could do something nice for the folks. They never did have no honeymoon.
What a fine example of womanhood. We can only aspire to bear our cross in life as nobly as this young girl.
Mr. Barry, I must object to this kind of histrionics.
I had nothing to do with that, Mr. Markley.
I've been in this game a long time, Mr. Barry. When I see a story like this move over the wires, I am not so naive as to believe that a plaintiff's attorney has nothing to do with it.
What's your proposal, Mr. Markley?
$1,500 for each girl.
$1,500?
That's not even a year's wages.
We think that it's very generous, considering your case won't survive the statute of limitations.
This is a case in equity, sir. The Chancery Court will come to a different conclusion.
The Chancery Court can't rewrite the law, and the law is clear. 2 years from the date of injury, and your clients are out of time.
2 years from the date the cause of injury is discovered.
Very creative, Mr. Barry. Very clever. I have to admire your imagination. But you have a long way to go before you convince the judge.
And in the meantime, Mr. Markley, the press will continue to take a great interest in this story and in the company's complete indifference to its workers.
No doubt that will prove to be good press for the Consumers League. And you accuse us of exploiting these girls.
You're the one hiding behind the statute of
Swallow it?
limitations. You know the law never anticipated a situation like this. These girls were dying years before anyone knew the
Before
cause.
anyone knew? Does that include the U.S. Radium Corporation, Miss Wiley? When, or should I say, if, this case goes to trial? I only hope that's your opening argument, Mr. Barry. You will have made our defense. See you at the hearing.
The arrogance of that man!
Tell me again the purpose of these articles, Miss Wiley.
Public sympathy, Mr. Barry. That's the engine of reform.
You're antagonizing the company.
Then the strategy is working.
And what about the girls? How does it help them to read in a dozen different newspapers that they have so little time to live?
Mr. Barry, surely you can see. The U.S. Radium Corporation cares nothing about the girls it has poisoned, but the average housewife in Orange cares very deeply. And so do millions of other women across the world. These women shop, they buy watches. Markley can be as smug as he likes, but the Consumers League will lead to only one outcome, and he knows it. That's why he was here today.
I only hope you're right, Miss Wiley.
Public sympathy, Mr. Barry. Wait and see.
Dear Miss Schaub, I read of your sad story in the Boston Globe and am so sorry to hear of your plight. It appears in this time of rapid advancement, the well-being of the average worker is overlooked. I would like to share with you girls the key to my own good health at the age of 92. It is called Christian Science.
Dear Miss Fryer, I read of your woeful situation in the Atlanta Constitution. I am prepared to offer you a solution. Venacine, a wonder tonic made from all natural ingredients. Venacine will restore your health and vitality. We are prepared to offer you girls a lifetime supply of Venacine in exchange for the exclusive rights to use your pictures in our advertisements.
Dear girl, I read about you in the Billings Gazette. I run 100 head of cattle up here and do very well by myself. I've always longed for a companion, and I'm well equipped to offer you a comfortable home in your final hours. A girl like you has suffered so much. Don't you think you deserve a few fleeting hours of happiness? Sincerely, your admirer, Leonard F. Watkins, P.S. In closing is my picture.
Look at this, Catherine. The man actually sent a picture. Are you all right?
Bleeding again.
Should I look at the nurse?
I did this before, I don't stop.
Maybe I should go.
No, don't go.
Don't you need to sleep?
Who can sleep? I never sleep.
Well, you'll sleep tomorrow.
Yeah, I might not wake up.
Of course you'll wake up.
Not if it don't go well. Sometimes you don't come out of it so good. My mother's cousin, she went into the hospital for her appendix and she didn't come home again.
You just can't think that way. That's all. Look at this, Catherine. Miss Wiley said folks would be on her side, and she sure was right. This one's from California.
What if we don't win?
Of course we'll win.
Yeah, but what if we don't? My father will lose his job. We'll be on the street. You'll be on the street too. Your father must owe thousands.
Catherine.
And you and Tom. You won't never get married. How can you stand it, Grace? How can Tom stand it? Don't you ever wonder?
Once the judges hear our testimony, he's gonna woo for us. All he has to do is take one look at us. It'll be over in a day.
Think so?
Sure. When they see what kind of shape we're in, we'd be awful hard to ignore, Don't you think?
That'll be something then. To see Mr. Rita's face as we take the stand.
Now, you want to look at more letters?
We didn't have no vanilla, so I got some chocolate.
Took you long enough.
Don't get on me. I had 6 people stop me on the way over here. All of them reporters and all of them asking after you.
Waiting for me to die.
No one's waiting for you to die.
It's true. One of them called my mother, asking if I had died. And she said no, he sounded disappointed.
Here, eat a little of this. You'll feel better.
Evening, girls. How about a picture?
For the love of Mike, what are you doing?
We need some pictures for the graphics exclusive on the girls.
Exclusive? What are you talking about?
$5,000. That's what. What do you say, Grace? Think you would use $5,000?
I don't understand.
Perhaps you're familiar with Bernard McFadden.
Who, that faith healer?
Herbalist, Mr. Carter. Herbalist.
Bernard McFadden's patented herbal therapy is just the thing to get these girls back on their feet. And all we ask is exclusive rights to their story from here on out. See for yourself.
You want to pay us to see Bernard McFadden?
Easy money, huh?
Let me see.
They're serious, Grace.
I don't know.
Grace, how much does your father owe on the house?
I don't know exactly.
And that last hospital bill? That was a couple hundred at least.
At least.
Maybe we should think about this.
And all we do is talk to this herbalist fella?
Of course we need to get our money's worth, a regular series of features with pictures, following the course of treatment, your recovery, or otherwise, depending on how it goes.
And then you print whatever you want.
Maybe we add color. Everybody adds color.
It don't sound so bad.
Maybe we should talk to Miss Wiley about
Miss
it.
Wiley? What's it to her?
But wouldn't
You're
it
the
be-
ones with the bills to play.
Wouldn't it be right to do something like this without talking to Miss Wiley?
You're a big girl, Grace. Can't you make your own decisions?
Of course I can make my own
You
decisions.
take it if it came from the company.
The company owes a lot more than that.
You ever see it?
Grace, maybe we should do it.
It just don't feel right.
You're gonna talk to the reporters anyhow. Why not get something out of it?
He's right, you know. Believe me, you girls could cash in big. The day we ran the feature on you, bang! Sold every copy at every newsstand. Everyone can sympathize with the plight of some poor sick girl facing certain death with no hope of fulfillment in motherhood.
I'd like you to go now. My friend is tired. She needs a rest.
Grace, at least think about it.
Sure, think it over. I understand. You're worried about what people will say. But hey, you gotta look out for your own interests here. Look out for number one. That's the way. Everybody else is out to get what they can, for sure. But why should you sit back and keep your nose clean when everybody else is up to their elbows in it?
Gentlemen, I have treated a number of the girls who claim they got sick here. One of them, the girl's jaw rotted so bad, I removed it just by lifting the bone out of her mouth, as you can see.
That's all right, Dr. Neff. You can put that away.
Oh, well maybe you'd rather look at it on the x-ray. This was an expensive case to treat, and I never did get no compensation. The girl died. Her family never paid.
I sympathize, Dr. Neff, but what has that to do with us?
Here it is strict. There's gonna be a lot more girls coming out and claiming they got sick here, so maybe we can do business. I scratch your back, you scratch mine, that sort of thing.
I'm not following you.
Suppose you was to give me a list of the girls who worked here. I'd see to it there weren't no more lawsuits.
You think you can cure them?
I couldn't put out a cure, no. I'm saying I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
How so, Dr. Neff?
I'd examine them for radium necrosis, and I'd put out a favorable diagnosis. Pyorrhea, say, or something else. Quite a few cases will just die a natural death anyway, and the rest we can put off for a while until the statute of limitations kicks in, and it's too late to sue.
You'll persuade them they haven't got a case against the company?
Exactly! If it did come to court, I could testify it was some other problem. And it would be strong testimony coming from the dentist who treated them.
What makes you so sure these girls will come to you?
They'll come to me quick if I don't charge them nothing.
Because we'd be paying you?
Exactly right. We understand each other, Mr. Reader.
Exactly what are you asking for, Dr. Neff?
I need $10,000 for my troubles so far and for every girl planned to see from here on out. $2 for every visit, plus expenses for the x-rays. I'm suggesting a gentleman's agreement here. Better off if it's not in writing.
No.
All right? We'll put it in writing.
We'll do nothing of the kind. Your proposal is immoral and will have nothing to do with it.
Immoral, you say? You're a fine one to be talking about morals.
Mr. Lee.
When you got your own hired guns, ready to testify.
Those are expert witnesses.
Expert witnesses. Paid lackeys is more like it. And none of them's got the dirt I got. Believe me. If you're smart, you'll play ball with me. I'm sure there's plenty of other folks interested in the information.
You're threatening me?
Just a business proposition, Mr. Reader. Just looking out for my interests, same way you look after yours.
Mr. Lee, see Dr. Neff to the door.
All right, fine. You don't want to play ball. But believe me, when all this shakes out, it won't be me holding the short end of the stick.
Gentlemen, I want you all to make statements on what happened here this morning. We'll send them to the State Dental Society. Then Dr. Neff will see who's playing ball and who isn't.
An excellent idea.
I don't know. Perhaps we shouldn't be so quick to dismiss Neff's proposal.
What do you mean?
We're in a very bad situation here, Mr. Reader.
That's true. Mr. Lee says you're having trouble getting girls to work here.
Yes, and we've lost some contracts because of it.
And it's going to get worse.
The papers were full of stories about these girls.
Making them out to be saints.
And what defense can we put out?
Except to say we'll try our case in court.
And in the court of public opinion, we've already lost.
Maybe we should reconsider. It certainly wouldn't hurt to have a testimony from the dentist who treated those girls.
Neff could be very helpful to us. We should retain him.
Retain him as what? An extortionist?
As an expert.
Like Dr. Flynn.
Dr. Flynn is a highly respected professor at Columbia University. Neff is a neighborhood dentist.
But Dr. Flynn treated some of those girls, didn't he?
He didn't treat them. He merely consulted with them.
He dispensed medical advice, Arthur.
It wasn't medical advice. It was an expert's opinion. A scientific opinion.
How about this? We retain Neff, but we don't put him on the stand. Just so we keep him from testifying for the women.
That's the most important thing.
Yes, I agree. That's the most important thing.
Would you agree to something like that, Mr. Reader?
Mr. Reader.
Edward! We can't possibly do this! We can't get into bed with the man right now!
Arthur's right. We don't want to do business with Neff.
He could hurt us. We have to take steps.
Neff has already given us everything we need. New evidence, gentlemen. This is grounds for postponement.
Three months to study an x-ray, it's outrageous. And the girls, did you see the girls? Their eyes were like saucers, looking at me, terrified.
Mr. Barry,
How are they going to hold out 3 more months? Catherine Schaub could barely make it into the courtroom today. And Grace, she was trying so hard not to cry. And of course I had all the answers. Go home, girls. Get some rest. That's the best I can do. Get some rest.
You're doing wonderfully, Mr. Barry. It's a difficult case.
I don't understand people like Markley. And Reader, how can you play this kind of game with those poor girls sitting right there?
Maybe this will help to explain. I received a letter.
You'd think the company would be eager to take care of this with the kind of publicity this has gotten. But Markley, he seems to enjoy the sport of it, what he can get away with. It's cold. Very cold.
Mr. Barry.
What's this?
It's from Catherine Drinker, Mrs. Cecil Drinker of Harvard. She's an industrial hygienist also. She worked with Dr. Drinker on a study of the radium plant. It was a joint effort, actually.
That's very interesting, Miss Wiley, but we've already seen that document. There's nothing in it to help us.
You've only seen part of it, Mr. Barry. Please. This is the full report. I received it this morning. Mrs. Drinker has been following our case very closely in the papers and was particularly disturbed with the last article in the Ledger, the one where Mr. Lee says her study clears the company.
He doctored the report. Reader, doctor the report.
Apparently, he pulled out 1 page listing the blood conditions of a dozen employees and passed it off as the whole thing. Doesn't look so bad by itself, does it? But in context, it's a somewhat different picture.
We can use this.
Yes, that should impress the judge.
The judge, Miss Wiley. I'm not going to wait 3 months to make use of this. I want you to call that contact you at the New York World. If Reader won't let us present our evidence in the courtroom, then he can read about it in the newspapers.
January 12th, 1928. Jack Youngwood reporting for the New York Ledger.
Nancy Jane Harlan for the Graphic.
Radium girls go to court. Today.
Radium girls knock at the doors of justice. Will they be heard?
These poor injured girls face pain,
disfigurement,
ruin,
and death. And as the clock ticks at the precious moment,
a hearing begins in the Chancery Court,
where the U.S. Radium Corporation demands postponement.
While plaintiff's attorney, Raymond Barry, makes a shocking disclosure,
showing that the company lied to the Department of Labor.
Read all about it in the Ledger.
Read all about it in the Graphic. We care because you care.
Very bad.
You didn't read it?
I make a point not to these days.
If only other people would do the same. Mrs. Mitchell, from across the street, she walked right past me this morning. Didn't say a word to me. I know she saw me. And the woman at the market, and the greengrocer. The way they glanced at each other. And at the club, Miss Middleton, the other ladies, the whisperers.
Why don't you put that away? Read the journal. I saw it
And
on
at the
video
club today,
other day.
someone
Why
actually
don't
had
you
the
read
nerve
that?
to say to me, "Is it true? Is it true?" she said. "Did your husband poison those women?" I said, "Miss Cowles, if you think it is true, then why would you speak to me at all? I certainly would not associate with a woman whose husband did such things."
Why do you go there then, if that's the way people are?
I've been a member for years.
What do you want me to say, Diane? I knew we were poisoning people, but we didn't want to stop because we were making too much money. Is that what you want me to
I
say?
certainly don't want you to say such a thing.
Even if it were true. Or especially if it were true.
Is it true?
Is that what you think?
What would you like me to think?
Oh, for God's sakes, Diane, don't you see what's going on? It's Von Sashaki. He's behind all of this. He's feeding information to the Consumers League so they can railroad us.
Why would the Consumers
Bunch
League?
of radical women. Half of them are Reds, probably. Socialists. Same thing with that club you belong to.
What?
You women think you can go around and fix the world's problems while your husbands go out and make a living. You're gonna quit that club.
Quit the club?
And stop talking to that idiot, Miss
You're
Middleton.
not making
She
any
doesn't know
sense.
anything. None of those women know anything. You don't know anything.
Did you lie to the Department of Labor?
What?
Did you lie?
I didn't lie. I just didn't agree with Drinker's results.
Arthur.
I have a fiduciary duty to the company.
I can't listen.
Diane, I have documents. I have articles. People with tumors the size of baseballs. Radium therapy. The tumors disappeared, Diane.
I'm tired. I'm going upstairs.
We save lives. We make lives better. Mild radium therapy invigorates. You can't really think I'm a liar, Diane. You can't really think I would set out to poison people, can you? Diane?
No.
Do you think I would ever do anything to hurt you or to hurt Harriet?
Certainly not.
Then
13 girls have died.
people die every day. The newspapers are full of death notices. Young, old, infants, children, younger than Harriet, die every day.
But they worked for you.
They also worked other places, Diane. I have a report from Columbia University from an expert in industrial hygiene, just like Drinker, who says there is no connection between our plant and these illnesses. Would you like to see the report?
Then what? What could the cause be?
I don't know. Diane, I really don't know. I've done everything I could to try and find out. No one knows. Please say you believe me. If you don't believe me, then there's no point to anything.
Artie.
You remember the day I told my father I wasn't going into the ministry? What you said to me that day?
You can do as much good in a boardroom as you can in a church.
You remember?
You think I would forget?
I was such a scared kid. And he was an icon. If it weren't for you, I don't think I could have stood up to him.
I know you could have, Artie. I know you would have.
And ever since then, he's been looking for signs that my soul is lost. You don't think that, do you? That my soul is lost?
You're a good man, Artie.
You save lives, Diane.
You save lives.
It's all for you. You know that? Everything I've ever done, it always has been.
I know.
Please don't let that be another reporter. Don't answer it.
Arthur!
Is that Mr. Lee?
I just got off the telephone with someone from the Ledger.
Oh, for God's sakes, Charlie, couldn't this have waited until morning?
I'm sorry. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Lee.
It's Dr. Lehman.
Dan?
He's dead, Arthur.
What?
He died this morning.
Charlie, that's not possible.
He was just here. A month ago. For cards. He was just here.
Martlin's already done the autopsy. He says it was a severe anemia.
He's blaming the radium.
The letter's going to run around page 1. I told the reporter we would issue a statement at 8 o'clock. That's when he needs it, so it can run tomorrow.
When are the services?
I'm sorry?
The services.
I don't know.
We'll send flowers. Diane?
Of course. I'll call Louise.
Yeah, that's right. Call Louise.
Wish you could see her. Right now.
I want to do that.
Why ever not?
She's planning to sue.
Louise?
The reporter from the Ledger told me. She's filing a wrongful death action. I've already been working up a statement. Company chemist for 8 years. Always in poor health. Recently in decline.
But Dan was never sickly. He was always on the golf course or sailing or their garden. Artie, he kept a beautiful garden.
Let's take care of this in the morning, Charlie.
Of course. Sorry to bring you the bad news, Mrs. Reeder. Good night.
Good night.
Charlie can be a bit excessive at times. We have to say something. I don't know what we'll say, but we have to say
It's all
something.
right.
The shareholders will expect it.
You needn't explain.
Sometimes it's necessary.
It's all right. You needn't explain. We're going to get rid of this right now. I'll have no more of it in the house.
Just have the case into the sink.
Then we'll get rid of that too.
I'll do it. Diane, I'm in too far to quit.
I didn't really expect you to.
February 21st, 1928. To Mr. Raymond Berry from Harrison Martland, Medical Examiner, Essex County. We have examined the remains of the deceased Amelia Maja. Our study reveals the following. No evidence of syphilis was found.
Body is radioactive.
Bones of dead girl kick off gamma rays.
Well, Catherine Wiley of Consumers Link declares. New evidence shows company lied.
Dr. Joseph Neff, a New York dentist who treated Amelia, has turned over portions of the jawbone that he removed from her mouth. This x-ray film shows that the jawbone was still radioactive 5 years after the girl had died.
Will this make your case?
Will this force a settlement?
Make our case? No. This gentleman will make our case.
Last night in a graphic exclusive, the founder of the Radium Corporation broke his long silence with this shocking announcement.
Radium is one of the most dangerous substances known to man.
Dr. Von Sashaki, is it true that you assisted in the autopsy?
Yeah, and given my expertise in radium extraction, I was able to determine that Miss Maja absorbed enough radium to kill 10 people.
Doctor, what does this say now for mild radium therapy? Are you now advising against it?
Radium is responsible for the deaths of these poor girls. It should be considered the most dangerous substance.
Do you agree with the doctor's prognosis that the radium girls have only a year to live?
From what I've seen, they'll be lucky to last that long. I'll tell you what we should have done. We should have took that reporter up on our offer when we had the chance. That's what we should have done.
$1,500. Don't make me laugh.
And we should have talked her up too. Because I'll tell you what, they'd have paid. And I'll tell you what else we should have
Stop
done.
telling me what we should have done! Lots of things we should have done. It don't do no good to think about them now.
All right, keep your shirt on.
What do you think? The red or the blue?
So what's Barry say? Is he gonna go back to the company?
I like the red, but it don't fit so good these days.
Is he gonna try and talk the company up a bit?
Miss Wiley says another interview would do the job. So I say what's one more, you know?
It's worth a try, don't you think? What if they came up to 5,000? Would you take it then?
Let him come up. I'm not keeping in.
It's called a settlement.
A settlement. It's just a way for them to hide.
Let them hide.
Then they win.
So they win. They're gonna win anyway.
Nice you got so much confidence in me.
Grace, for Christ's sake, you got one lawyer working for nothing, up against 6 other lawyers who are getting a bundle. And you think you got a chance?
You know what I found out today?
They put LED screens in the laboratory.
For the technicians. Did they give us LED screens?
Oh, Jesus.
What do you think? 100 girls in a single room and they're gonna spend that kind of money on us?
Grace.
And they want to keep it all quiet.
What are we
And
doing
this
here,
one
Grace?
is gonna move across the river to
Grace.
New York City. So open up
Grace.
another factory like nothing ever happened.
What are we doing here, Grace? I thought the idea was you get some money to settle your debts, get a better doctor, and we get on with things.
Get on with things.
You're still wearing my ring.
Tommy.
Grace. There's a house in my brother's neighborhood. 2 rooms up, 2 rooms down. Not much, but it's a start. You'll like it. It's already got flowered wallpaper. And best of all, it's only 3 blocks from the school.
The school? What do we need with the school?
Plan ahead for once.
Tommy, what do you think's gonna happen when all this is over? Do you think things will just go back to the way they were?
Why wouldn't it?
Gotta see the doctor again.
Uh-huh.
I've got some fluid. He's gonna drain it.
Okay.
And then he says there'll be more.
So we deal with it when it comes.
And then more! And then more! And then still more! How can you not get it? How can you talk about getting married and buying houses when you know there's nothing?
Grace. I can't think about that. I just want to be together now. I want to come home to you at night. To my wife. My home. I'm too old to be living this in-between life. Promise, Grace. Do whatever it takes to make it easy for you.
Here.
Grace, come on.
I should have given it back a long time ago.
I don't want it.
Please, Tommy. Are you gonna make me say it?
You're not getting enough sleep, that's all. You're not getting enough rest.
Tommy!
You get some sleep!
What are you gonna do to me, Tommy? Tommy!
Arthur? Charlie, aren't you headed home?
Charlie, I've been thinking it over. I think we're taking the wrong approach here. I think we should settle this case. We've got to make a reasonable offer to those girls.
No, Arthur. We agreed. We need a definitive victory. Otherwise, we invite more of the same nonsense.
Things have changed.
Arthur, I know you and Dan were close, but you can't let that cloud your judgment.
Von Zashaki is going to testify.
We can deal with him.
How?
Put more money in his pocket.
Oh, so now you want to bribe him?
Not a bribe, consideration.
Consideration.
For an expert witness. Whatever Barry's paying him, we'll just make a better offer.
Well, what? You don't understand guilt, do you, Charlie?
Right now, I don't have the luxury of thinking about it.
Let me tell you something, Charlie. A guilty man has a tremendous need to unburden himself. His guilt can eat him alive. Don't you see? What Von Zashaki wants is to be free. That is why he is testifying for the girls. That is why he will never testify for us, no matter how much consideration you offer.
Settle with these girls, and you'll settle with all the others. Neff was right about that. This is just the beginning.
Tell Markley to get in touch with Barry. Get a conversation going, come up with a figure the girls can accept.
Arthur, for God's sakes, what are you trying to do to me? You're gonna wipe me out?
Not to get
every
this on the
penny,
table.
every penny I put in the last 7 years I've sunk into this company. Why? Because of you. Because you said it was a sure thing. No, miss. Why work for Von Zashaki when we can work for ourselves? Remember that one. Take a chance, Charlie. Take a chance.
Charlie, we were fooled. Von Zashaki fooled us all. The only thing to do now is to try to clean it up as best we can.
Do this, and it's the end, Arthur.
You're stepping down, Charlie?
Not me.
Well,
don't you know? They're only one vote away from getting rid of you.
Whose vote is that, Charlie?
Arthur, have you so little faith in me?
I'm still a stockholder, Charlie. You know how many votes to get me on the board. I'll still be on the board.
I'm still in the hunt if this company goes under. Think about that the next time your conscience starts to bother you.
March 15th, 1928. To Raymond Barry, Attorney at Law. From Edward Markley, Counsel U.S. Radium. One of our expert witnesses has encountered a serious scheduling conflict, which makes it impossible for him to testify in April. We have therefore requested an extension until June. As for your request for a settlement, every case involves some humanitarian aspect. Therefore, I am afraid that cannot be the basis for settling this one. But I have no doubt you will be rewarded for the good work you are doing. If not in this world, then in the next.
Tommy, please.
Rise and shine.
Not a jury. It's time for work. Am I late? I set an alarm. We have $5,000 to make before breakfast. Up. It's all for the war effort. Please. I'm so very tired.
Not complaining. Good soldiers don't complain.
But I'm dying.
And who is it?
Get up, Grace. 3.
Get up, sleepyhead. You'll never make quota like that.
But it's not fair. I'm only 26. I should be married. I should have children, my own home.
We all have to make sacrifices sometimes.
I know I did.
But why? Why do we make these sacrifices?
It's all for science, Grace.
Science, family. Every life is sacrificed to something. It's just a matter of choosing which.
I didn't get a choice. I get to choose.
Sure you did, Grace. Sure you did.
Catherine, don't do that. Catherine?
Oh, now look what you did, Grace! She's bleeding all over the dials!
I'm sorry, Catherine. I guess I shouldn't have said anything.
It's alright. What's one more dead dial later?
Grace? Mama? Grace? Mr. Markley will be here any minute.
Mr. Markley?
sign? Did you fall asleep?
Has Miss Wiley been by?
Miss Wiley.
About Catherine. She told me she might stop by. Did she stop by?
She might have.
Well, don't you know?
Someone came to the door earlier. I think your brother got in. Look, Grace, you need to get ready.
They took her back to the hospital last night.
I know, Grace, I know. And after you're done talking to Mr. Markley, we'll go over there and we'll see how she's doing. Now, put a comb through that hair.
I dreamt she died.
Don't speak such things.
If she dies, it's over.
We're 3 months behind on the mortgage, Grace.
I know that.
We can't let this go on.
$1,500. Not even a year's wages.
It's better than nothing, ain't it?
Is that all I'm worth? Better than nothing?
Of course not. Sweetheart, at the rate things are going, you'll never get inside that courtroom. And even if you do, you can't prove nothing.
Mr. Barry thinks we can.
Mr. Barry ain't paying the bills. There's the doctor and the bank and the coal man. You can't expect people to treat us like charity just because you're sick.
I'm not asking for charity, Mom. I just want what's owed to me.
Grace, I know it feels like you're letting Catherine down, but if she decided to take the company's offer, would you hold it against her? No, you wouldn't. Now, we'll take that check and we'll pay the bills. And whatever's left, you and Grace can have. Sorry, you and Tom can have. Something gets you started.
There's nothing to start, Mom.
Why do you have to be so hard on Tommy? Can't you see he just can't face the thought of you not being with us?
I have to. Why can't he?
Do something with your hair, Grace.
$250,000. What would you do with $250,000, Miss Fryer? Why, I can't imagine. No point to it. Ma, you didn't tell me I had mail. New Mexico. They just keep on writing. She was here. Miss Wiley was here, Mom. Mom, Miss Wiley was here. She left a note.
Miss Fryer? Edward Markley.
Ma said she brought papers.
Yes, the terms spelled out as we explained in our letter. $1,500 to you. I've got a check right here. All we need is your signature.
Grace, Mr. Markley is a very busy man.
Oh, no, please, take your time. Look it over carefully. If you prefer, I can leave it and come back tomorrow.
No. We'll do this now.
Let's hold harmless.
You agree to hold the company harmless from any further action.
No more lawsuits.
Correct.
Is that just me or anybody in my family?
Your entire family. It precludes a wrongful death action also.
This is a confidential settlement.
Yes.
You didn't say nothing about it being confidential.
And that's standard for most legal settlements, Miss Fryer. I wouldn't take it personally. We'd like to protect our privacy and your privacy also. It cuts both ways. You agree to keep silent about the terms of the settlement, and so do we.
That seems fair.
Need a pen?
I have another question.
Grace, Mr. Markley already explained the settlement to you.
Ma,
I don't mind.
what's contributory negligence, Mr. Markley? It's not in that one. It was in the other ones that you filed. When we did the lawsuit, the company said its defense was the statute of limitations and contributory negligence.
I'm not sure what you're asking, Miss Fryer.
It means it's our fault, don't it?
It's a standard legal defense, Miss Fryer. I wouldn't take it personally.
Well, how else can I take it?
Mr. Markley, Grace has had an awful headache all day. Maybe you could just leave them papers.
Maybe he can just answer the question.
Why are you doing this?
Why didn't you tell me Miss Wiley was by?
You already made up your mind. She'd only try to talk you out of it.
What did she say about Catherine?
Mr. Markley, if you just leave those papers, Grace will send
Ma!
them later.
What did she say about Catherine?
She said it don't look good.
Perhaps I should come back later when Miss Fryer is feeling better.
No, you didn't answer my question, Mr. Markley. And I'd really like an answer because let me tell you, I quit school at 15. I went to work at your company because my folks needed the money. At your factory, they told us what to do, when to do it, how to do it. My folks never raised me to make trouble, so I didn't make trouble. I did what I was told. I never asked questions. How do you get contributory negligence out of that?
As I said, it's a standard defense.
There's nothing standard about what happened to me.
We deeply regret your situation, Miss Fryer. but there is no evidence to tie your condition to any actions by the U.S. Radium Corporation.
Then why are you giving me this money?
It's a humanitarian gesture.
Humanitarian gesture?
Mr. Markley, I'll take the papers.
Humanitarian? Month after month you put us off. Delay after delay, knowing how sick we were, how tired and desperate. Humanitarian? You're waiting for us to die, Grace.
Stop this. Now.
Ma, one by one, I watched my friends get sick and die in the most horrible way. And you think I should be grateful for any spare change they throw at me?
This is a very generous offer under the circumstances, Miss Fryer. And I would advise you to take it, because it won't be on the table for very long.
What do you mean?
If Miss Fryer does not sign within 24 hours, we will be forced to withdraw our offer
Grace.
permanently.
He's lying.
I beg your pardon, miss.
You're trying to tell me if I don't sign these now, but I came a week from now saying that I changed my mind, you'd still rather go to court? You'd still rather some judge take a look at me? And when your chances, take your chances, I won't win on sympathy alone? 24 hours? You're just trying to bully me.
Very well then, Miss Fryer. I'll take that for a no. We'll see you in court.
Yes, you will. You will see me. If they have to carry me in there, you'll see me. You and Mr. Reader both.
You call that man back!
Keep going to court, Mom.
What are you trying to prove? You know you can't win.
I want those people to look at me. I want them to look at me and explain to me how it's my fault I got sick working in their factory.
And what'll that get you? What?
Ma, all my life I've done what other people told me to do. I quit school because you said I should. I put that brush in my mouth because Miss McNeil said I should. I never said, please, can't I finish school? I never said, I don't like the taste of this paint. I never once complained. Even though I knew, Ma, I knew something wasn't right. At night, I'd lay in bed and I'd see my dress hanging on the back of my closet door, all aglow. My shoes on the floor, my comb on the dresser. So much light, Ma. So much light. And I never once questioned. I never once asked. Don't you see, Ma? They knew I wouldn't. That's what they were counting on.
Arthur! So it is you making all this noise.
I left messages with your housekeeper. I know you got the messages.
As we are no longer in business together, I thought it best not to respond.
Is that what this is about?
Perhaps a cup of tea will calm your nerves.
You never told us the paint was dangerous. You never said a word about it. Not to me, not to Dad.
I didn't know.
You didn't know. You invented the paint, and you didn't know. How can you lie like that?
I didn't know until it was too late, Arthur.
I should put you through that wall.
Perhaps you should. But you will not. You will sit down, you will have some tea, and you will calm yourself.
I was not the technical man. You were the technical man.
Yeah, I was the technical man. Sit down, Arthur.
I sold watches, for Christ's sake. I was a salesman.
A very good one at that. Very good head for the business you have. And not such a good head for the science, but for the business, very smart. Always you could find ways to cut the cost without losing the quality. And that's a gift, Arthur. So, why don't you have some tea?
Jesus Christ! What's the matter with your hands?
It's been that way for some time.
What? Have you been dipping them in ink?
Dipping them in ink? How fond of the pretty story you are. If only it were ink. No. Dr. Martland tells me it's in the necrosis of the tissue. The cells, they are dying. With the dial painters in the jaw it started, the necrosis. With me, in the hands.
I had no idea.
No reason why you should. It's been a long time since I've seen you.
How long?
But I've known for quite a while. Miss Wiley from the Consumers League persuaded me to assist Dr. Martland in testing the dial painters for radium exposure. There aren't that many people around, you know, who can measure that kind of thing. So she came to me, knowing that I had the equipment, and of course, the skill. I didn't believe her either, Arthur. I didn't want to believe the girls could get sick from working with my paint. I wanted to show her it was a mistake. So I agreed to help. Dr. Martin and I conducted expired air tests on the girls. It was then that I found out. My own breath registered radioactive. Then my fingers, they began to turn black. Now, you wish to have words with me.
I'm sorry.
Well, maybe now you should make an appointment yourself with Dr. Martin.
Me? What for?
Arthur, you did not notice the glowing dust on your shoes when you went home at night?
How could I miss it? I tracked it all over the house.
You can be sure that a good deal of it is now in your lungs. Look familiar?
It's our promotional piece.
An excellent promotion. How many new sales did that book account for?
I didn't track it exactly. I like to think it helped our medical market quite a bit.
Page 96.
What?
Open it. The last chapter. Read it to me.
The last chapter? Radium. Dangerous effects.
Dangerous effects. How many articles do you have listed there? 10? 15?
About 18 looks like.
How far back do they go, those articles?
I don't know.
Look at it. The last one, there. What is the date?
1906.
1906. Now let me see. When you go to court, you plan to testify that you had no idea the radium was dangerous. How do you plan to do that, Arthur? When your own book says that it was, how can you claim that you did not know?
I never really read it.
What's that?
I never really read it. I hired a man to put it together. I just danced at the galleys. I never read the book.
How do you mean you never read the book?
It was a standard arrangement. An outside company prepared the piece. They were responsible for its content.
Which you never read.
I think you will find, Mr. Barry, that very few company presidents read their own promotions word for word.
It has your name on it. You authorized the book's release, and you had final approval of the content.
Mr. Lee was in charge of our promotional efforts at the time. I entrusted those activities to him.
Now, Mr. Reader, you testified that you started at the company in 1918.
Yes, as plant manager.
And you held this position for how long?
4 years.
During those 4 years, how often did you venture into the studio?
Every day.
Every day. So you must have observed the girls pointing the brushes on their lips.
I don't recall.
You're saying that you went into the studio every day and you never saw a single girl put a brush to her mouth?
I said I don't recall it.
You don't recall it. What do you recall, Mr. Reader? You're an awfully young man to have such a faulty memory.
Objection!
I withdraw. No more questions.
Your witness, Mr. Markley.
We have no questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right. All right, gentlemen. Please approach. I'm ready to issue my ruling.
Your Honor, we have yet to present our defense.
I realize that, Mr. Markley, but this proceeding is to issue standing. Now, I've heard enough these 2 days to make that determination. The radium in the bones of these girls is an ongoing source of poison in their systems. Nothing your witnesses can say will change that fact. Will it?
Our witnesses are prepared to testify that the
Mr.
company
Markley,
could not have known.
in the interest of justice, I please ask that the defense rest without calling any witnesses. We can conclude this hearing today and schedule the case for trial.
All right, Your Honor.
Fine. I therefore rule that the statute of limitations has not been exhausted and the girls have the right to sue.
Your Honor, one thing. I have a very full schedule with 2 other cases pending, and a key witness will not be available until summer. We can't be available until September.
Your Honor!
Your Honor, I'm sorry, but our chief expert witness is associated with an institution of higher learning. This is the busiest time of year for him, and I cannot expect him to appear.
Mr. Markley is responsible for that situation. He is the one who has demanded continuous delays.
Your Honor, we have just agreed to waive our right to present witnesses at this hearing. Surely you'll not force us to make our defense at trial without the presence of our key witness.
All right, Mr. Markley. Trial is set for September. This hearing is adjourned.
Edward, Why can't Flynn appear?
He's going to Europe.
Europe? But he's known about this for months. Why would he? Oh, very clever, Edward. How long do you plan to keep this up?
As long as necessary.
Mr. Markley,
Ah, Mr. Barry, congratulations. I never believed the court would go for it.
you know full well these girls can't wait 3 more months.
My client has the right to make his defense.
We are not gonna wait 3 more months. I promise you that. One way or another, we will find room on the docket. And your expert witness be damned!
That girl is still staring at me.
I wouldn't worry about it.
She thinks it's personal. That I planned this somehow. How do I make her understand I didn't want this to happen?
You don't. You don't make her understand. You don't talk to her.
But she looks like death, Edward.
They all look like death, Arthur.
Grace?
That man, Miss Wiley. He can't bring himself to look at me. He just looks right past me. Like I'm not even there.
It doesn't matter, Grace. He heard you.
June 4th, 1928. Nancy Jane Harlan here from the New York Graphic.
Jack Youngwood for the Ledger.
Plaintiff's attorney, Raymond Barry, seeks trial for early summer.
As U.S. Radium Corporation announces a settlement.
A settlement?
$10,000 cash for each girl and $12 a week for life.
$12 a week?
Read all about it in the Ledger, your first source for news.
The company also agrees to pay the medical expenses of each of the girls for the remainder of her life. The girls have also agreed to report to a periodic examination by a panel of physicians yet to be appointed. Questions?
What led to the settlement?
Is it an admission of responsibility?
What about pending cases?
It was purely for humanitarian reasons that the U.S. Radium Corporation has agreed to the settlement. We admit no liability whatsoever.
Where does the company go from here?
The U.S. Radium Corporation is pleased to bring this lengthy litigation to an end and looks forward to many more years serving its customers in this community. And that's C.B. Lee, President.
Catherine Wiley of the New Jersey Consumers League, our press statement.
Were you pleased with the outcome, Miss Wiley?
Finally, these poor girls got some compensation for their suffering. But more importantly, the issue of radium poisoning has been brought to the public awareness.
Thank you, Miss Wiley.
And that's Wiley with one L and Catherine with a K.
Well, Edward, it looks like we're back in business.
What's your game plan?
Didn't I tell you? I've got a buyer for the tailings that have been piling up behind that building on Alden Street.
No?
Some contractor in Montclair needs a little infill.
That's perfect.
No, Catherine. This won't do. I can't see your name. That's better. Well, Catherine, I brought my paints today. It's such a beautiful day, too. The leaves are starting to churn, but it's still warm. Too warm for a sweater. A fine day to paint.
Thought I might find you up here.
You were right.
Quiet up here.
Yep,
Well, I guess if you can rest in peace, this is the place to do it, huh?
I guess it is.
What do you call that?
Watercolors. I'm a little weak when it comes to landscapes, though.
No, it's good, Grace. It's nice.
First thing I bought with the settlement money were some paints.
Big spender.
Well, then I bought a car.
I didn't know you could drive.
I can't. My brother does. He's gonna teach me.
Oh, Grace. You want to learn to drive? I teach you.
You don't have time for that, Tommy.
You know about that.
Tommy.
I meant to tell you myself, Grace.
Tommy.
That's why I
it's
came
okay.
looking.
I'm happy for you. For both of you.
No hard feelings then?
Tommy, you think I have time for that?
Well, I'm glad it worked out for you, Grace. I mean, are you glad? You don't feel like you backed down too soon, do you?
We didn't back down. They backed down.
It was over here.
Oh, not this again.
This is where I saw her that last time.
This is morbid, Papa.
I stood there for a long time. At first she didn't notice me, but then something made her look up.
Oh my.
No wonder Mama won't come for drives with you anymore. If this is how you spend your Sundays.
I saw her looking at me, and I looked away.
Just like at the courthouse that day. He can't bring himself to look at me.
You need to find a new hobby. Retirement isn't good for you.
My heart started pounding, Harriet. I never knew what I would say to her if I had the chance, and suddenly, there she was. And I had the chance.
So what did you say?
I couldn't bring myself to speak.
It's as if you were afraid to look at me.
I had my chance, and I couldn't speak.
Like he was afraid of me.
Papa, why don't you just forget about it? That was years ago. It's not like it was your fault. People didn't know about things like that back then. Science just wasn't advanced the way it is now.
I think back on those days and I try to think, how could it have happened? I remember so clearly climbing the stairs to the studio at Alden Street. At the top of the stairs, those wide, high windows, and the slant of light, the way it hit the floor, the way the floor creaked under my feet. And all those girls, schoolgirls really, all bent to the task in their plain green smocks, their delicate little hands moving so quickly, so careful, so fast. No man could work the way those girls did. Those brushes moving from the dials to the paint, to the dials, to their lips. Try as I might, Harriet, try as I might, I cannot remember their faces. I never saw their faces.